Man.
So, Daniel, how long have you been running your pool business?
I have been building pools for 20 years or so now, but I actually launched my own business um, around the COVID boom about 4 years ago when everybody wanted a pool because everybody was stuck at home, and it was awesome. We were building so many, it was like the glory days, man. There was so much work to be done, but it kind of slowed down after that. But yeah, I've been in business 4 years.
Yeah, for sure. But I also believe that COVID turned out to be a gold time for the pool building industry back then. So, please tell us a bit about you and your story.
Um, sure. I was at that point in time. I mean, after things slowed down, I was probably doing somewhere between like one or two, maybe goonite, and then maybe like one, two, maybe three fiberglass per month, um, which was all right. I just don't say it wasn't going to be sustainable for the business. It's good business, but it wasn't enough to keep the crew going all the time. So that's kind of where I was at up until I guess maybe 4 months ago. When you and I started talking.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, what type of pools did you build and what was their average cost?
Um, the Goonite is probably 100,000 to 150,000. Uh, the fiberglass probably 50,000 to 75,000. I mean, like the numbers are good. I think when I got to that point, when I realized, how much we could make per pool, I just realized there was a lot more potential. That like I had a crew ready to build, we were doing good work, and if we could just scale up and get more jobs in, then the potential would be, pretty unlimited from there.
Yeah, got it. Okay, that's not bad. So, what made you want to do a change in your life and in your business, and how come you didn't take action earlier?
I think I mean, like at that point in time, we were really just relying on word of mouth and Angie's List, of course. But I think the problem that I had with marketing agencies is number one, you don't know who to trust.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that promise you all kinds of things and then won't back it up, and then you're out the money. So that's always been kind of a sticking point for me. And then really just not knowing where to invest the money, where to put, money into marketing, because that's not really my strong suit. I needed to be able to rely on somebody else that really knew their business about it. Um, but then not knowing, who to trust and not wanting to pay somebody that wasn't actually going to, do the work for me is probably what kept me from doing it in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and since you didn't have any much luck with previous agencies, what made you trust us and invest upfront?
I think it was a couple things. Number one, I realized that you have a really good working knowledge of pool building because you're past. And that's important because a lot of the lead generation agencies, they're just sending you random leads. They don't really know anything about pool building. So you need to be able to trust somebody who actually understands the business and you've got the background in the business. Um, I think the other thing is that you've got a proven track record. Like the testimonials for people that you'd worked with were really impressive to me. I could look at other people that were doing the same kind of thing I was and say, okay, this worked for them. So that gives me the confidence to say, okay, I'll work with you guys. And then probably lastly, that you just had a very clear system. There was the investment up front, which to me, I get so many of the people that would like hit me up and say, hey, you don't pay unless we've got, these leads coming through. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't have any skin in the game that way. Like if you've got a system that works, I know it takes money to make money. So when you're like, look, here's the investment up front, here's what it's going to take to get this rolling. I'm like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, and yeah, you've got to kind of bite the bullet and say, hey, I'm going to spend some money on the front end. But with those kind of testimonials from other clients and with that working knowledge, I think it made sense to me.
Appreciate it, appreciate it. And what did you like the most about us?
Couple things. The communication, the ongoing kind of like, you and I can talk about this stuff, and we can constantly get like real time feedback on what's working, what maybe needs to be tweaked. Not everything's perfect. Like not everything you try is going to be perfect, and so just the ability to communicate back and forth all the time about that, I think, is really important. The constant testing and updating on the marketing and the things like that we're running, I think to me that's really important. Um, and then being able to actually predict like what that scaling looks like. Like I know what my numbers look like at this many pools, and then for every additional pool that comes in, for every lead that comes in that we signed, I know predictably like how much that's going to generate, and then I can take the amount of money that I make and reinvest a percentage of it into the marketing that I'm doing with you, and it's a predictable way of scaling. And I think that that's a lot better than just like hoping and guessing, where's the next lead going to come from. If I can predict it and I can look forward and say, look, here's how this works, here's how many leads come in, then I can plan my business around that. Now I know how many people to hire, keep on my crew, what we can handle, and how much money we're going to make.
Love it, love it. So, how do you see yourself
Yep.
now?
Oh man, now, well, I think there's two important things here. Number one is the money has been great. I mean, like the return on investment for this has been incredible. I really, I'm not sure there's any other place where I know I could scale, you know, 2 times, 5 times, 10 times return on investment for marketing money that I put in. I think that's pretty unheard of in other industries, or at least, working with other types of marketing groups. And so the money has been awesome. We just closed a new pool, that one that we worked on most recently, that was not just the pool. It was, the outdoor kitchen, the outdoor living space, the big rock, waterfall. I mean, it was huge, like $450,000 project, and like that wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for this marketing. But number two, and maybe even more importantly, is just being able to relax and spend more time with my family. When you're stressed about where the business is coming from, you're constantly in it. You're constantly in the business going, man, what could I do? Or if you don't know what to do, then you're just sitting there stressing about it, and you're no good to your family because you're always worried. You're always
Absolutely.
wound up in your business. And when you've got a solid marketing team that provides you the leads and they're coming in, you can breathe and you can take time off and you can be there for your family. Even with your busy working, which is important. When you're not working, you're not worrying, and that makes you more present for your family. And I think that comes from the marketing. I think it comes from the leads. I think it comes from like the social media. Like my social media presence is just like banging now ever since we started doing this. And like I can sit back now and relax and go, this system is working. My business is thriving and I'm okay. And I can take some time and relax and be present for my family. So I think that's what's most important to me, man.
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. Love it. Love it. So, what would you advise a pool builder who is watching you now and wants to reach your goals?
I think, I think what I would probably say is number one, like I said earlier on, it takes money to make money. You know that you're going to have to put some money into something to get a return from it. Period. That's just the only way that works. Otherwise, you're just sitting and hoping, and that doesn't do anybody any good.
Yeah.
So, number one, realize it's important to make the investment first and know that that's going to pay dividends. Know that's going to give you a return on your investment. Okay. And then number two, when those leads come in, make sure you're following up super fast. That was a big change. Like when I was really busy and worried all the time, trying to keep my hands on everything. If a lead came in and I let it go too long, that lead's cold and they've already called somebody else, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say when those leads come in, try and get that response time down to like 2 hours or less, I would say, like max. And if you can't do it yourself, if you're busy running the business, you can't do it yourself, then just hire somebody, or like outsource somebody just to take that call, get that lead that comes in online, and then, schedule an appointment within 2 hours while it's still hot, while they still want it, and then you just jump on top of it. So I'd say that's the two main, most important things. And then just do your job, build good pools. And, if you'll do that, if you'll put the investment in first, make sure that you've got a system that's working, respond to people quickly, and then do good work, I just don't think you can fail.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, man.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I just take a minute just to say thank you also, like just within, 3-4 months of working together, the amount of increase, the number of jobs that we've closed coming in, has just been incredible. Like even one job would have been okay, but multiple jobs booked in the last 4 months, going from 3 builds a month to 6 to 10 is just incredible, man. Like I said, it's the only thing I've seen where you can take, 3 times or 5 times or 10 times the amount that you put in and get that back. I think that's probably one of the most incredible things, as far as like what we've gotten out of the deal in a pretty short amount of time, dude.
Perfect, perfect.